Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for those of you that are already jumping on live. We so appreciate you. This is another episode of Her Version. This Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I am speaking with an amazing woman named Brenda Bourns. Brenda is a live event producer, sports marketer, entrepreneur, and prides herself in creating real leaders in today's ever-evolving world. Brenda is here to tell a crazy story about how she suddenly lost her right eye one night while walking her dog, and how that one incident changed the trajectory of her life. The definition of the word challenge and the word struggle shifted, and she had to make a decision as to how she was going to handle the shift with her husband and her family. We are here to talk about what healing can look like and the joys of riding a tandem bicycle. Welcome, Brenda. How are you?
And so I just wanted to share my story. And if I can inspire anybody, I know that some of my friends were really struggling during COVID, and they would send me notes and they'd say, I was having such a bad day and I logged onto Facebook and I saw you out jogging at the river with your dog. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I worried about? Brenda just lost an eye. She's out jogging, having a great day. Some of my friends would just say, I love logging in and just feeling your positivity. And I'm like, oh, you don't wake up in the morning going, I'm going to inspire people. I was just being me and just taking every day as a challenge. And if people found that inspirational, then I'm happy.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Where do you think that comes from? Because I, too, was in the hospital during COVID, October. I broke my leg. But I now, for the first time ever, and I consider myself a very optimistic go-getter, but I still, that was 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago now, get bouts of anxiety driving when someone else is driving, when I'm not in control. Or even just walking. I find myself like when I accidentally trip, just like in life, just trip, the like rush inside me is like so much exaggerated than it would have been other than that.
Right.
So do you think that do you contribute that to anything, like upbringing, something that happened in your past, or maybe it's the competitiveness and you've put yourself in?
Oh, for sure. I'm super competitive.
So did you play
in sports? Yes, I'm competitive in sports.
What do you play?
Oh, I've literally played every sport under the sun. Everything from rugby to women's tackle football when I was 50 years old, to I've boxed, I've rowed, I've been fastball, hockey. Did I say rugby? You name it, I've tried it. Skydiving. I'll do anything once and twice if I like it. So I lived a very fast-paced, energetic life. And I think when you're competitive with yourself, I mean, I'm competitive with others, but it's always, I'm 53 now. So yes, I did do boxing and it was just so awesome. It was for a charity event. We trained 6 days a week, 3 hours a day. And it was like, bam, bam, I love it. It was so fun. And it was an incredible workout. And I thought that boxing was the hardest thing I'd ever tried until I played rugby. Then it was rugby. And then until I played women's tackle football. because that's rugby carrying 40 pounds of gear. And it was just so much fun. So I'm always constantly challenging myself. And I think that sports mindset of wanting to improve and to do better. I'm 4'11", you guys. I'm hardly a threat, but I would love when I'm up at the plate and somebody is like, oh yeah, we're going to get her. Because I'm going to crank it and it's going to be a chick burn because I'm going to get a stand-up triple or a home run because you're standing right behind the shortstop. And all my life it's been like that. And then I would play right field and all the guys would adjust. I used to play co-ed fastball. They would adjust because they're going to hit to the girl in right field. I'm like, that's fine. So if I don't run it down and catch it, I'm going to throw you out at 2. So I was always very competitive with myself and with the teams that I played with, but in a healthy competition. And I can honestly say the internal drive to be better and to challenge myself is a huge driver. But the calmness of dealing in such chaotic live production events, like I have done some of the biggest events in Canada, from the FIFA championships to World Junior Hockey. I've done the NHL All-Star Game, Pan Am Games. It's a lot of chaos in that broadcast booth, and you have to be the calmest person in the room. Yeah. And so I think that 30 years of doing very high level professional sports has given me the tools to remain calm, but I still have that internal drive to be the best that I can be.
100%. Yeah. Wow. So it's almost as if you have trained yourself to the point of fully trusting yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I knew that this was not going to slow me down.
Yeah.
This is not going to, yes, it's going to change a few things, but, you know, restrictions have just been lifted in our city 3 weeks ago. The mask mandate was literally 3 weeks ago. My industry, doing arena and stadium size events and huge festivals and rock concerts and things like that, we were the first industry to close. We will be the last to open up again. It's a little bit different in the States and in other places of the world. But in Canada, things were shut right down. Yeah. Which was almost a blessing for me because it gave me time to heal. And now I'm back in my game, right? Yes. So now things are starting to have a little bit more normalcy and I'm feeling really great. So I look forward to new opportunities and challenges and, you know, doing what I do best.
Yes, yes, yes. Well, that kind of gives me a little bit of hope then. So it's just, I mean, if I was going to use your example there, putting myself in situations where I'm forced to trust myself almost purposely, kind of like what you're doing with cooking and baking and stuff, you know, as your first little trial and errors there to kind of get that back and lessen all of that anxiety that continues to creep up still. It's crazy.
Yeah. My best friend lives in Florida.
Yeah.
And one of her son's teammates was playing baseball and the ball went back and hit his dad in the eye and his dad lost his eye. So when she saw that my daughter set up this GoFundMe page, she shared it on her Facebook page. And her neighbor, the wife of this gentleman who lost his eye, said, "Would you like my husband to talk to your friend?" And my girlfriend Lynn was like, "No, you told me your husband was in the basement for 2 years. We're good." Brenda's out jogging. She's like, "Brenda can talk to your husband." But she's like, "No, Brenda's good." And I think it's a mindset thing. I truly I think that we are all a product of our environment, how we were raised. I was raised by an incredibly strong mother. Yeah. And my dad, he was a rock. He was super calm. And I think that, you know, the experiences that I've had, I've always been, I've always been a female in a very male-dominated world. Yeah. You grow skills of how to hold your own, how to use your voice, how to communicate, and how to share information. And trust me, I took my hard knocks in the world of business. And I worked for a football club in my city for 8 seasons. And it was like, I learned a lot there that has helped me in business. And I just think that when you have the right framework or the attitude and that mindset, that, you know, you can do whatever you put your mind to. Whatever you put your mind to.